Hi, welcome to the Christian Family Center's virtual exercise classes. We're glad to have you with us today. A couple reminders before we get started. First and foremost, please check with your healthcare provider if you haven't already before beginning an exercise program. If you feel any dizziness, chest pain, or other discomfort while you're exercising, please stop immediately. By continuing, you're assuming all risks associated with this activity. Have a wonderful workout and a blessed day.
Hi everybody, Colleen here for a little bit of yoga, about 40 minutes or so. We're going to start in table pose today. So I'm going to have you bring it all the way down to the mat. Take a look at your wrist, make sure it's right underneath your shoulder. Take a look at those knees, get them right underneath the hips. We're just going to stabilize here with a little bit of a micro bend in the elbow. Let's start with a couple of slow breaths. Whatever your space is, bring yourself into the yoga space with a nice slow inhale. And then a slow exhale. And just take 2 more breaths on your own pace. I'm going to begin to warm up in the spine a little bit here with some cat-cows. I'm going to start with the cow. So I'm going to start to drop the belly down, shoulder blades come together, head comes forward for that cow pose. And then inhale, move yourself into that cat pose, just working between those two. I'm not going to cue the breath because I'm going to talk about some other things, but I want you to really focus on a very slow inhale, very deep exhale. So as I drop back and forth between cow and cat, I'm trying to keep the shoulders and the hips square and just be able to start getting some heat here in the spine. The next time you're in neutral, let's go ahead and come back into neutral and we'll stay. I'm going to leave my left leg down. I'm going to take my right leg, toe to the ground and lengthen it, coming into yoga's seeker pose. Again, squaring the hips and shoulders. I'm just going to start to move forward and back a little bit. Starting to open up there in the calf and the foot and the toes. And then just go ahead and come back into neutral here. Very subtle action. I'm going to keep my shoulders square, but see if I could look around my right shoulder and back towards the right toe for seeker. Trying not to move the hips, trying to keep the shoulders square. One more breath. And then slowly come back. Take that right toe that's against the ground right now. We're just going to go ahead and lift it. Leaving the right leg where it is, I'm going to take the left arm out and I'm going to extend it and come into this core stabilizer. So I'm thinking about drawing the belly in, trying to keep the lower back in neutral. I usually teach in the morning, so I talk about taking a coffee cup or a plate of scrambled eggs right here on the lower back, seeing if I could keep it there so I'm not moving around. But if you're doing this practice later in the day, maybe it's carrot sticks with tzatziki on your lower back, trying to keep it there. Lastly, if this feels stable for you and you want to be able to take a little bit more, pay attention to your left toe. Maybe you're using it on purpose. Maybe you could let go with your foot or toe for a little bit bigger balance challenge. Good work. Release it all down. I promise I didn't forget the other side. We're going to do the other side when we get to the other side. I'm going to take my fingers out just a little bit further, tuck the toes under, and come up and do our first downward facing dog here. Starting to pedal out the feet a little bit, getting some heat in the legs. Nice slow breath. And then find some stillness in the pose as you draw the heels back. So I'm eventually going to be making my way up to the front of the mat. I'd like you to pretend for today that there's a tightrope between your legs and your feet. And each time we walk to the front edge, we're going to try to walk on that rope with straight legs. So I'm going to keep my legs straight and walk right through the middle, all the way up to the front edge, and I'm going to place my heels and knees together, bend the knees, and slowly rise up to standing. So I'm going to take a little bit of a sequence here with chair pose in it. I'm going to take a big inhale and lift the arms up over the head. Exhale, sit down into chair pose. So I'm squeezing the heels and knees together, elbows are up near my ears, pushing back towards the hips. One more breath. And then fold forward and lift the hips, forward fold. Go ahead and step your right foot back and step your left foot back, and we're in our plank pose. Feel free to come to your knees or you're welcome to stay all the way up off the knees, but you're really wanting to focus here on the arms. So I'm going to spin the bicep forward and keep the arms really narrow as I lower halfway down. Hold it. And then release the rest of the way down. We're going to peel up into cobra, a little back bend again. Shoulder blades are squeezing together. Then release down, and I'm going to get up the hard way. I'm going to come backwards, so keeping my knees down, draw the belly in, arms in close, come back up to that plank. And tuck the toes under, make your way to downward facing dog. Then remember that tightrope, and we're going to creep on the tightrope all the way again, placing the heels and knees together. They are touching. Slight bend in the knees as I rise back up. We take that much again, a little bit quicker cueing. Big inhale. Exhale, sit down chair. Fold forward and lift the hips. This time I'm going to add a little bit of a lift here, up to halfway in the spine, and release it back down. Good. Step your right leg back. Step your left leg back. Again, you can stay up here, or you can draw to your knees, elbows in tight. We lower halfway. And slowly bring it to the ground. This time I'm going to come into up dog. So you could stay here in cobra. I'm going to come all the way up, thighs off the ground, gaze up, up dog. And downward facing dog. Here comes that tightrope. I'm going to walk all the way up to the front edge. And slowly rise up. Good. Last time through this sequence on this side. Take a big inhale. Exhale and sit down chair. This time, leave your right arm where it is. We're going to drop the left arm and take it behind us. See if you can take your gaze back. Now, if you get a second, peek down at your knees. What tends to happen is the right knee is going to come forward. I'm trying to keep my knees together and sit back as low as I can, gazing back to the left. And return to chair. Dive forward, lift your hips. Inhale, lift up and get some length. And exhale, fold. Good. Step the feet back, coming into your plank. And then here's where you choose. Maybe knees, maybe not. Maybe cobra, maybe up dog. So I'm going to lower halfway, peel up into a back bend, and downward facing dog. Once again, I'm going to walk that tightrope, keeping the legs mostly straight, drawing the knees together. Slowly rise up. Good work. From here on the end, I'm going to make my way to my right leg only, arms to the side for balance, and I'm going to come up into marcher pose. So my knee, even with the hip, belly tight, marcher. Option to take the arms higher if that's available to you. Then we're really going to work on this transition. Next up is warrior two. So I'm going to begin to take my leg back, nice slow balance. Planting that heel with the toe forward. So I'm sinking into the right leg, extending the left and gazing over the right fingertips. Warrior two. Then draw your arms behind you. Let's put the right thumb on top of the left thumb as we clasp the arms behind us. Take a little back bend here. And then we're coming into humble warrior. Taking the right shoulder right down near the right knee. I'm sinking into that right hip. Go as low as you can comfortably with the upper body, and then we're going to lift the hands up off your back. Humble warrior. Good work. Release and return to our warrior two. Then here's where we're going to take a side-to-side switch. So I'm going to lengthen and bring the hands to my hips. And now I'm going to be turning to the other side of the mat. So I'm just going to turn toes and knees. We're coming into pyramid pose. I'm going to shorten my stance. So there's maybe 45 degrees or so, or not 45 degrees. We are about 2 feet between our legs. 45 degrees is the next pose. Take a gaze up here. And go ahead and draw down. Lift your tailbone. Lower body. Maybe hands stay on the hips. Maybe they begin to draw down. Probably the most intense of the poses in this sequence as you really work to get into that left hamstring. And then creep the arms forward slightly. We're going to lift that right leg up into standing split. Now there's kind of lots of different variations of standing split. I'm going to go for an open hip today. So instead of worrying about closing the hip, I'm just going to let it open. I'm going to take it up as high as it can go as I really focus more on this left leg, the leg on the ground. Good work. Go ahead and release the leg to the ground, plant the hands, and we're just gonna step this back into our table pose. And we begin everything again from this side. So I'm placing my wrist right underneath the shoulder and the knees right underneath the hips. Just come back to a couple of breaths here, again thinking about trying to balance something. Coffee cup, scrambled eggs, dinner on my back. 2 more breaths. And then I'm going to start to manipulate that spine. So I'm going to slowly drop down into that cow pose. Shoulder blade squeeze and gaze goes up. Hollow out the belly and take the cat. So again, I'm not going to cue it. I'm going to ask you to just really pay attention to the breath. Think about extending the range of motion. So sometimes what seems like a simple pose in yoga, if you really hollow out the belly, you really squeeze those shoulder blades together, it can be very challenging. And go ahead and come back into neutral with the spine. Good. I'm taking my left foot back. The toe is going to stay on the ground. Square the hips, square the shoulders, and we're just going to move a little here. Getting into the toes. Feel that on the arch of the foot, a little bit in the calf. And then stop the movement. Square hips and shoulders. Here comes seeker pose. So very subtle action. I'm going to begin to look around my left shoulder. See if I could look back towards my toes. Still keep the hips and shoulders in the same place. And then slowly draw the gaze back, belly still tight. I'm going to go ahead and lift up that left leg and take the right arm forward, thumb up for a core stabilizer. So I'm drawing the belly in, try not to let it hang down, drawing against that lower back. And as we did on the other side, if that feels pretty stable, you want to go harder, let go with the right toes. If you weren't wobbling and shaking before, that'll help a little bit. Good work. Release that all down. We'll tuck the toes under and come right into our downward facing dog. Now again, thinking about that tightrope, I didn't cue which leg to walk forward with on the other side, but I want you to think about what leg would be less natural for you to do on this side. So for me, my right leg just says, sure, I'll do it. If I tell my left leg to go, that takes a little more energy. So I'm gonna switch now my lead leg and walk forward. Drawing the heels and knees together towards that chair pose leg and making my way all the way up. Heels and knees are touching. Take a big inhale and bring those arms up. And as you exhale, sit down into chair. 2 more breaths. Go ahead and draw the arms down and draw the hips up. Planting the hands, I'm going to step the feet back one at a time, coming into my plank pose. So remember, plank could be down here on the knees. Most important in this part of the posture is spin those biceps forward, keep the elbows in really close, and we're going to lower. We're going to come all the way back to cobra again. So belly is all the way down. I'm going to push against the ground. Shoulder blades squeeze together. Take your gaze up. And then release down. I'm going to start by just going to my knees. Don't let the elbows fly out. My elbows are touching the body. And I'm going to push up, come back to plank, make my way to downward facing dog. Now again, you've got that tightrope and you're gonna think about which leg feels less natural walking first, and that's the one we're gonna take on this side. Bringing the heels and knees together once again, and rise up with the shoulders. Take a big inhale and lift the arms. Exhale, sit down chair. Good. Draw the arms down and the hips up. This time I'm going to take that extra length, lift halfway, and come back to forward fold. Stepping the feet back, one leg at a time. Lots of choices here. Your plank could be to your knees. You could take cobra instead of up dog. I'm going to take that up dog. So I'm going to lower halfway, peel up with the thighs off the ground, upward facing dog, and then downward facing dog. Drawing the heels down, push all the way to the finger pads, so not just the wrist, but all the way to the fingers. Less natural leg is walking forward. bend those knees and we rise up. All right, last time through on this side, we take a big inhale, arms up. Exhale, and we sit down chair, drawing the elbows in near your ears, thinking about keeping the knees together. I'm gonna drop the right arm and take it behind me. See if I can take my gaze towards that right arm. Again, check in on the knees. That left knee is gonna wanna slip forward. Try to make sure that you keep them close. Drop the arm and we return to chair. Dive forward, forward fold. Inhale, lift back up, get that length in your spine. And exhale, fold. Stepping the legs back, one at a time. Again, you choose either your knees, either cobra or up dog. Take it around, lower. Peel into a back bend. And downward facing dog. So this time, instead of walking on the rope, I'm gonna see if I can hop my big toes on the rope all the way up to the front of the mat. So I'm bringing both legs together, staying really close, little hops, and then make your way to standing. Beautiful. Go ahead and move the weight of the body to the left leg. Coming into marcher pose. So I'm gonna lift that right leg, knee even with the hip, draw the belly in. Arms could stay here at your side, or maybe you're gonna take the arms all the way up. Maybe you take your gaze up. So here comes the really fun transition of the day. The next thing up is that warrior two pose. So I'm gonna slowly draw this right leg behind me, just as slow as I can stand it, and plant that right leg, coming right into warrior two here to the left. Gazing out over your left fingers. Then I'm gonna draw the arms behind me. This time I'm gonna place my left thumb on top as I take a little back bend with clasped hands. And then draw down, humble warrior. Left shoulder, right near that left knee, and then lift your hands off your back. Release and come back to warrior two. And then I'm gonna lengthen, bring the hands to the hips, and everything's turning towards pyramid pose. Turning the toes and the knees, shortening the stance. Take a little back bend here, gaze up. And then lift the tailbone and slowly draw down. Again, probably the most intense in the sequence here as I try to keep my legs straight as I draw down. Taking the arms slightly forward, rise up onto that right leg, shoot your left leg up, standing split. Again, we're gonna really focus on the upper body drawing to the leg and let that left leg just go wherever it'll go. Go ahead and draw that left foot down, placing heels and knees close for a chair pose leg, and then just bend the knees and we rise up. So we're gonna go next to what I call moving chair. We're gonna take a big inhale, lift the arms up. As you exhale, sit down and bring the arms with you and come back up, and we take 10 of them. 10. Trying to stay even over the hips. Adding a little bit of energy in the arms. 7, 6, 3 more. Last one. Bring the hands in and we sit down chair. So I'm going to try to keep my knees together, and some of you I know do the pose where you hook your elbow to your knee. We are going to do that eventually, but right now I'm not going to hook my elbow to my knee. I'm going to take the arms and I'm twisting to the left. Really focus on the twist here. Twist and draw down. And then see if you can hook your elbow towards your knee and take the gaze up. Now I'm gonna return here in a second, so after you see this next pose, if you don't wanna go there, stay here because I'm coming back. I'm gonna leave my left leg right where it is. See if I could let go with my right and step back into a lunge. Maybe extend the arms. Then bring the arms back together and just step right back up into that twisted chair. Release and come to chair pose. Release, forward fold. Good work. You're welcome to stay here. I'm gonna take that little flow, stepping back and coming through the back bend. If that's too much, stay in the forward fold. We'll be back in a second. We lower down, peel up, down dog. Again, I'm gonna do the 2-leg hop up to the edge. Knees are slightly bent. and I rise up to standing. Good work. Move the weight of the body over to your right leg. And this time I'm gonna start in marcher and come into figure four. So I'm gonna take this ankle and hook it over the knee. Option one, figure four stays here. Option two is going to sit. Square the hips. I don't know if I can do option three without falling, but I'm gonna try. Option three is gonna be to cradle the leg and pick it up. Maybe stand against the wall to try that one. Then from wherever you are, you're coming back into marcher. Slow transition as you take your left foot back just as far as you can get it and sink right into warrior two. Draw the arms behind you with your right thumb on top. We'll take a little back bend. And then draw down humble warrior. Sinking into that right hip, lifting the hands off your back. Good. Release the arms and we come back to warrior two. And we're gonna add on this time. Go ahead and lengthen the right leg and we're gonna find our triangle pose. So you're hinging to the right as if you're trying to back up against that wall behind me that says the center. And then if you can hold this posture with your knees slightly bent in the legs, I'm gonna come to an unsupported triangle. So I'm gonna take my right arm out, I'm gonna take my left arm up. See if you could clasp your fingers. Get into that left side body. Beautiful. Come to center. Go ahead and bring those hands to your hips. And now we'll take the transition to the other side towards pyramid. Everything's turning. Toes and knees are now to the other side. The legs are maybe 2 feet apart. Lift the tailbone, draw that chest towards the quad. Again, hands could stay here, or maybe they're gonna draw to the ground. As we did before, I'm gonna climb onto that left leg coming into standing split. Now you're welcome to stay here. I'm gonna square my hip and add in yoga's half moon. I'm gonna leave my left arm down and see if I could lift my right arm up. Flex the foot, try to square those shoulders up. Half moon. And then bring that right arm down. Go ahead and bring that right leg down. Place the legs close for chair pose. Bend your knees and we rise up. All right, side two, we start with that moving chair. There are 10 of them. Big inhale, arms come up. Exhale, we sit. Draw those heels and knees together, 10. Belly in. 8. 7. 6. 1 more. And then sit down chair, drawing the arms into the center. So again, don't be in a hurry to make the hook here. I'm gonna sit low into my chair, and I'm now gonna draw with the oblique over towards the left and hold. Then see if you could make the hook, but it's not really about the hook, it's about that opening in the oblique. Again, I'm gonna return here in a second, so feel free to stay, or you're gonna see if you could leave the right leg where it is, step that left leg back. Woo, almost didn't catch it. Oh, didn't catch it. It's all good. Maybe extend the arms. Good. Return the arms and we step back to twisted chair. And release and we come back chair. Hands down, hips up, forward fold. Good. Bend your knees and we rise up. And this time I'm making my way over to my left leg. Lifting the right leg up into marcher. Again, it could stay here, or the arms could go up. Or I'm gonna see if I can hook above the knee and come into figure 4 with that cross leg, which could stay here, or maybe I'm gonna start to sit, bringing the palms together. Maybe I'm gonna cradle and clasp the fingers and see if I could pick it up. From wherever you are, you're gonna return to marcher, leg in the air. And as slow as you can stand it, make your way back to warrior two. Take the arms behind you. Left thumb's gonna go on top so that we're switching this each time. Take your gaze up, back bend, draw down, humble warrior. Sinking into that left hip. Once the head gets as low as it's gonna go, you're lifting your hands off your back. Good. Release and come back to warrior two, left leg still bent. And then I'm gonna lengthen the left leg. Really keep your shoulders back like you're trying to back up to the wall. Coming into triangle pose. And then if you can keep a micro bend in this left knee and the posture feels okay in the legs, take the left arm out, take the right arm out. See if you can clasp, draw into that right side body. Beautiful. Come to center. Draw the hands to the hips. And we turn everything. Shortening my stance, really lifting in the upper body, and then draw down for pyramid. Straight legs. Breathe. Go ahead and move up onto the right leg, and we come into standing split, and it could be you stay there. I'm gonna see if I can square the hips, leave my right arm down, take my left arm up, coming into half moon. And then go ahead and return the left leg and the left arm to the ground. Walk the feet just a little bit wide here so that they're kind of even with the edges of the mat. And then I'm gonna take my right arm and bring it over to the left ankle. I'm going after the shoulder blades here as I try to make space between the shoulder blades as I draw down. Maybe wrap your left arm around your back and gaze up. And then release, and we'll switch. So my left hand is coming to my right ankle. I'm thinking about making space between the shoulder blades. Maybe that right arm twists around. Good. Bringing the arms back into the middle. We're gonna come through a yogi squat here. For some of us, a yoga squat is uncomfortable, so just choose what's going to work. I'm gonna come here. And for some of us, that's where we're gonna stay in our yogi squat. If you can get lower and keep the feet flat, take the shoulders higher, put a little bit of pressure on the inner thighs, go ahead and come into that full yoga squat. Again, I'm really listening here to my knees. I don't want any sensation in the knees. Lots of sensation in the hips, but nothing talking to you in the knees. Then, if you're sitting really close to the ground, maybe you can get to boat pose without your hands. If you can, you're gonna take your hips down, come right into boat. Just 2 breaths there. And then go ahead and lengthen the legs down. Take the arms all the way up. We're gonna take a nice long seated forward fold. Breathe. So our last set today is going to be all from our back. Go ahead and draw your shoulders up and the arms out. We're just going to take a very slow roll down to get to our back. Just as slow as you can. No hurry. Good work. When you get there, draw the arms across the chest. We're just going to bend the knees, and we're going to come into a little bit of leg strength work here by way of bridge. So feet are flat, knees are bent. Arms across the body so you don't use them for balance. We're just gonna take a slow moving bridge. Big inhale here. Exhale, we lift. And slowly lower. We'll take 2 more there. One more. Thinking about scooping in with the abdominals, really controlling the lift. And then release it down. Take it back up again, and this time we're gonna stay there. I'm gonna leave my right leg where it is and see if I could take that left leg and cross it over into figure 4. Slowly release the body down, and we take a figure 4 one-leg bridge. Try to keep the hips in a straight line. You might even take your left hand and bring it to your hip. 3 of those. There's 1. And the next time you're up, we're gonna stay there. If your right leg could take more weight, you're gonna go ahead and lengthen your left leg. Or maybe even drop and hover. So whatever you've got, 2 more breaths. Good. Bend the left leg and return that left foot. Release it to the ground. We go back to a 2-leg bridge, 3 of them. Slow motion, just coming into neutral spine, being really careful not to use my arms if I don't need them. If you need them, you could take your arms down and use them to help you up. Eventually, we want to get to the point where we can get up into that bridge without any help from the arms. And the next time you're up, we're going to go ahead and stay there. I'm going to see if I can leave my left leg where it is. We're going to pick up that right leg and cross it over. And again, I might even move my right hand to the hip. See if I can keep the legs in a straight line, hips in a straight line. And then release it down, and we'll take 3 of the moving figure 4. And we hold. Again, if you can take more, maybe you're going to extend that right leg, point the toe, or maybe even hover to the ground, hips in a straight line. 3 more breaths. Okay. Hips stay in the air. Bring that right foot back down, and we slowly release this to the ground. Go ahead and lengthen your legs. We're going to lengthen the arms up. We're going to take just a couple restorative stretches here, and then we will turn back over to that table pose. Nice big full body stretch here. Reach to the fingers or reach to the toes. Then draw the arms out over the chest, and we're going to lift the right leg. I'm just going to grip it with the hands and begin to draw towards me into this hamstring stretch. Left leg could stay down, or it could be bent if that's more comfortable on your hips. So just choose what's going to work. Maybe lift some upper body here if that's comfortable. Then I'm going to release. I'm going to keep the grip of my right arm on my right leg as I take the left arm down. And I'm going to come out kind of like a split from your back on a right diagonal here. Flex the left foot, draw that right leg out to the side. Lots of air. Good work. Slowly return, and we'll just switch legs. The left leg is coming up for hamstring. Again, right leg could be lengthened or it could be bent, whatever is comfortable on your hips. I'm going to grip and just draw towards me, saying hello in the hamstring. Maybe adding some upper body weight. So I'm kind of trying to hang that upper body weight on the leg. And releasing the upper body, keeping the grip with your left arm. Flex the right foot, right arm's coming down. I'm going to draw to the side, again, like a split from your back. Good work. Draw back into center, and we lengthen. And all we're going to do is turn over or flip over depending on your space. I'm just going to turn over from where I am, make my way to my belly. I'm going to make a little bit of a pillow here with my hands. And I'm going to start here with a double leg raise. So it's a big inhale here on the bottom. As I exhale, I'm going to lift both legs. But if you see they're not going very high, it's about length. I'm pointing to the toes, squeezing with the glute, and releasing back down. And take 2 more. So more about length than it is about height. 1 more. Then go ahead and extend the arms. I'm going to take arms and legs together. If that is going to be too much on your back, you're going to take your arms first and then your legs. So let's do that first. Big inhale here, we lift the arms. And release, and then lift the legs. So Feel free to stick with that alternating if you can take both. We're taking everything. Big inhale, reach. Again, it's about length. 2 more. Good. The next time you're up, we're gonna stay there. It could be just your arms or just your legs. Take a little swim for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and release. Drawing the arms to the side. We're going to push that back to child's pose. My goodness, the first child's pose in the whole class. I'm mean. Knees are wide, toes are together. Sit back, lengthen, draw the head down, creep those fingers away. I'm going to come to a full child's pose. It's the only one we're going to do today. Go ahead and bring those arms behind you. See if you could hug opposite elbows here. Getting some opening in the shoulders. For a lot of us, that's going to be enough. If you have more, see if you could lift your shoulders off your back. And release. Good. Unwrap the shoulders. We're going to bring them back around front. And go ahead and make your way back up into table pose, suspiciously where we began when we started this class. And we're going to come back, now that we're warm, into a little bit bigger core stabilizer. So I'm going to leave my right arm down. I'm going to take my left arm into the chest. I'm going to take my right leg into the chest. Find some balance there. And then we take a big inhale, and on the exhale, we're going to extend and keep this moving. So I'm rolling through the ball and socket of the shoulder and the hip. And the next time you're out, we're going to stay there. Turn the arch of the foot towards the ground, turn the palm towards the ground. And we're going to take the arm and the leg to the side for 5. Lots of air. 4. And last one. And release it all down. Good work. We switch sides. I'm going to draw that right arm into the chest. Drawing the left leg into the chest. Take a big inhale. As you exhale, you extend. And just roll. Draw the belly in, keeping the gaze right down on the mat so we keep that head and neck in alignment. Next time you're extended, we stay. So you can turn the arch of the foot down, turn the palm down. We come to the side for 5. Last little push here. 4. 3. And 1. Good work. Return the arm and the leg. Take those fingers forward just slightly. Tuck the toes under. We come back to downward facing dog. Alright, last up is going to be a pigeon pose on each leg to get that last little bit of hip opening. Let's start with your left leg. So we're going to pick up the left. Go ahead and bend, stack, and open the hips. You're still trying to push down into the right heel. Draw that left hip weight over the right. Should feel good. And then square the hip. We're coming right into sleeping pigeon. I'm going to take this left knee right down near my wrist or my thumb and take the back leg down. And just a reminder that the more we open out near the edge of the mat, the bigger opening we're going to get here. So if you need it to be easier, you stay bent. If you're trying for harder, you open here. But whatever you do, you keep your hips square. So you might have to stay up high in order for the hips to be square. If you can back that back leg up, keep your hips square, you're going to come as low as you can. So it could be that palms are down, could be the forearm. Go with what's going to work for you today. Could be the forehead comes down. Could be the chest comes down. 5 breaths here, lots of air. Good. Then very gingerly and slowly we come back to forearm and palm. And go ahead and step it back to downward facing dog. You can take that leg in the air or circle it or whatever might need to be done. As we prepare to come to the other side from your down dog, we're going to take that right leg and lift it. Stack the hips, press the left heel down, open the hip. And then we're going to take that right knee, bring it down near your wrist or your thumb. Again, thinking about the angle of the front leg, bringing the left leg down, make sure you're way above the kneecap. And then I'm just going to start to breathe and go a little lower with each breath. But I'm not going to give up on this straight line back here in the hip. So if that means I need to stay high, I'm going to stay high. So you should get a lot of sensation in the hip and outer thigh, but we don't want any sensation in the knee. So if there's anything talking to you in your knee, adjust the posture so that you're not feeling anything in your knees. 5 breaths. And again, taking your time, gingerly coming back to the palm, tucking the toe under and coming to down dog. Could be you wave that right leg up. And then from downward facing dog, I'm just going to begin to walk my hands back towards my feet, coming into our final forward fold, really lifting the tailbone, drawing the head down, lots of air. And then I'm going to bend the knees and slowly rise all the way up. And we will close out this morning with 2 big breaths together. Go ahead and take a big inhale. And exhale down. 1 more big inhale. And exhale. Thanks so much for tuning into the center today. I hope to see you again soon. Have a good day.